Well, this week was a really good week. It was one of the best weeks we had yet. It was pretty well booked, completely full Monday through Saturday. We worked 6 days this week, and it was a grind. The good thing is we are still kind of in the slow season. We're coming out of the slow season. It feels like, especially with the kickoff of the new year, and we're rolling right up to the busy season, spring and summer. And I'm really excited because this is actually my first spring that I've had. And I haven't gotten a chance to really experience what spring is like for an exterior cleaning company. I started in April, so I got the tail end of spring, but I didn't really get the bulk of it. I didn't get to you know do business throughout the spring. Summer is really good. I know that. I know summer. I was doing fantastic even just by myself last summer. So spring is right around the corner. And that's when I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that are like, we're going to wait till spring. We're going to wait till spring. We usually do it in spring. A lot of people do. And I'm going to start getting phone calls. I know it's like spring cleaning is a thing. And, springtime just brings this sort of like fresh energy that people they want to they want to get things done, cleaned up. They want they kind of, because spring is like a beautiful time of the year, and I think that a lot of people just want to like match that time of the year, whatever it may be. Also, the weather's not too hot because here in Texas it gets like blistering hot in the summers, and then in the winters it's just kind of like up and down, hot cold, hot cold. It's really weird. So, anyways, we're getting out of the slow season here, and we're getting into spring. And I've almost been working, or I've almost been operating this business for a full year now. It'll be a full year in April. And there's been a lot of learning. There's been a lot of challenges. There's been a lot of things that I didn't even know that I needed to do. I guess that falls within learning. And there's been a lot of ups and downs. So I think I've got a pretty good idea after, what is it? It's 9 months now, I think yeah, about 9 months of owning and operating a exterior cleaning business. And so what I would like to do actually today is kind of just talk about you can call it the pros and cons, or I'm just going to like talk about my likes and dislikes. What I like about owning an exterior cleaning business, and what I dislike. And if you've watched my podcasts in the past, you know my story and you know why I started. I'm not going to talk about that in this podcast. What I'm going to talk about is the likes and dislikes and just the journey from the start up until now. And so I guess I'll just start with like the dislikes, or maybe you could call it the cons. And I don't really like to call it's not really pros and cons. It's more just like my personal beliefs, my personal feelings about the business and about the industry. But first and foremost, the first thing that comes to mind that I just dislike is like dealing with rude people or with Karens. In this industry, and really in every industry, you're going to deal with these people. They're out there. There's no avoiding them. The good thing is, in my opinion, is that like 99% of people are decent people. 99% of people are good and treat you good and just want to be treated good. But you always run into that 1% that is just like out to get you. For some reason, they had a bad day, or they just have these off the wall beliefs about what you're doing. And, they're never fun to deal with. Rude people, Karens. And I'll give you a few examples of what I ran into in operating this exterior cleaning business. Number one is, I obviously door knock, right? So I hate this word, but I solicit. essentially. Um, I hate being called a solicitor. It's like you might as well just punch me in the face. I think it's a kind of a rude word. Not that I'm not one of those people that like words hurt me. I don't like being called a solicitor, but you're going door to door to generate business. And I talk with a lot of people at their homes, at their doors, and generally most people are extremely nice and welcoming. Okay, there's a group of people that are extremely nice and welcoming, and they'll just sit there and have a chat with you, and they're happy to see you. There's that percentage of people. It's a smaller percentage, maybe let's call it 25, and then like 50% of people are kind of just like, whether they are a little bit more introverted or you just catch them off guard or they're just like really unsure about why you're there. You got to kind of crack them a little bit. You've got to work your way into the conversation and lighten it. And what we call those people is when they're like that, they're a D basically. They're in a dominance or a defense mode. It'd be mostly defense, right? But you call that a D personality. Not that it's their personality, it's just the state of mind they're in, because it's like someone's at the house that they don't know. So they go into defense mode, and you have to crack the defense mode. You have to get, over that wall. And then once you do that, they're normal people, and most of them are just great people. And then you've got that small little percentage of, I said 25, 50. I don't know what the percentages are. But then you've got that small percentage of people that are just plain rude. And, luckily for me, I've seen these videos on Instagram where like these super Karens are just like going off. They're getting in people's faces, or they're following them down the street, or they're calling the police. I mean, I've never run into that. I've never had somebody do that to me. And that could be because of how I handle situations. I'm very much a de-escalator, and I'm very professional. I think people really appreciate that, and so I think the chances of me running into someone like, not necessarily running into, but creating a situation like that is far less, because I I just don't get myself into that situation in the first place. I can de-escalate. I'm very professional. I'm very polite, if you will. And so I think I can avoid those situations a lot just by being so. But you've got some rude people that are like, they'll stick their hand in your face, or they'll slam the door in your face. I've had one person yell at me, and it was actually my fault. I didn't see the do not soliciting sign at their, in their flower bed. It's like this decorative do not soliciting sign that's like written in cursive. And it was like Halloween as well. So like people have all these like signs and stuff, like how trick or treat and all this stuff. And I just didn't see it. I didn't know it was that. And I got yelled at, and the door slammed in my face. Okay, whatever. On to the next one. The other day I had this one lady that I went and knocked on the door, and there was no answer. And so I was leaving, and then I saw her walk out of her side door. So I just, from a distance approached, and I just smiled. I said, "Hey." And she like right out the gate, like waved her hand, and she's like, "We're good. Like, I saw you at the door. I didn't answer for a reason. We're good." And I was just like, I didn't even know what to say. I was just like, I'm sorry I offended you. I hope you have a good day. And I walked away. But it gets to me a lot. I shouldn't let it bother me as much as it does. It just gets to me a lot because I just don't appreciate rude people. Like, I totally get it. It has nothing to do with me. And maybe she just had a bad day. Maybe her life sucks. Maybe she hates her marriage. There's no telling. It has nothing to do with me. Maybe she had a bad experience with somebody else coming to the door. And that's actually kind of where I want to talk about with some of your door knockers is, I've seen videos of these really rude door knockers themselves, or like just super pushy, or just super like just be a good human. I know that door knockers, there's a lot of people that just wear it out, and it puts a bad name out there for the rest of us. And that could have been the situation. But that's just kind of the things I run into whenever I'm door knocking, but it's like very, very few. I hardly ever run into a rude person. Probably again because I'm a very nice, polite, and professional individual, and it's hard to be rude to that. It's hard to not respect professionalism. Um, Now, another example, I guess I could say, yeah, another example would have been outside of the door knocking, but actually in like while servicing a home, there was this really big misunderstanding. And to be honest with you, it was these people were just being a little bit rude. And what happened was we sold the job to wash all the exterior windows. And so we show up to go do the job. Guy comes out. I meet the dude. Nice guy at the beginning. He was cool. We talked. We joked. He was a cool dude. And then he took off to work. Or actually, I asked him, um, hey, while we're here, I was actually going to ask your wife because I was supposed to talk with his wife at first, but he came out, and so I was like, I'll just ask you. Um, while we're here, I don't know if you wanted to go ahead and just get the driveway done and the walkway. And he was like, my kid, I have a power washer and my kids are going to do it. And I was like, okay, that's fair. No worries. But he was like, but I do want to get my gutters done, but like just the sides here. And granted, he has it like a 2-story, but like a tall 2-story house. And it was like on 3 sides. And these are big houses. We're talking like, this house was probably like 1.5 mil inside a neighborhood that's extremely affluent. And so I go around and I look at it and I'm like, before I had told them I'll just, I'll do the driveway and the walkway for 300. I told them that. And then I said, well, look, man, why don't I just do this? Like, just to make your life a little easier, I'll knock out the gutters and I'll just knock out the driveway too. And I'll just do everything for 5. And he was like, he thought about it for a sec. He was like, okay, cool. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. And that way I don't have to think about it. Sweet. So I go to get the equipment to do all that work. And then the wife, who I also thought was pretty kind and nice at the beginning, she calls me and she says, no, we're not going to do that. That's way too much to do that. She didn't understand what I was doing. Oh, I was also taking the Christmas lights down for free. Right. I was like, I'll take the Christmas lights down for free. Anyway, she calls me and she's like, no, we're not going to do that. That's way too much, because I actually had a guy that did just the front gutters for 175. Now, granted, I'm doing the whole gutters for 200, and then I'm doing the driveway and stuff for 300. I made them that deal, right? I said like, yeah, I'll do the gutters for 200 if we do the driveway for 3. And maybe I didn't communicate it like that. I told him, we just do the whole thing for 5, but originally I told him I would do the driveway for 3. Anyways, so I explained to her, she was like, and our guy takes the Christmas lights down for free. And I said, well, ma'am, I already told your husband I would take the Christmas lights down for free. And actually, you said that the guy did just the front gutters for 175. I'm doing all of the gutters for 200, for like $25 more. And then I'm just going to knock out the driveway while I'm doing that. Right. So it's like, I had this deal with your husband. And after I told her that, she was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Okay, no worries. Let's just proceed. Awesome. Cool. So in order to do their gutters for $200, I have to rent a 34-foot ladder because it's a huge house. So I go to rent that 34-foot ladder, and I think it's like $70 or something like that to rent the ladder. And so I go and get the ladder and I pull up at the house, and then she texts me and she's like, no, we're off. the power washing's off, but we still want to get the gutters done for 200. So I call her and I try to explain to her, like, well, look, I typically wouldn't just do gutters for just $200. The deal was I gave y'all a good price on the gutters with the power washing included. Right now, you've taken the power washing out of the equation, and you're expecting me to do the gutters for next to nothing. And she was all in a frenzy about this. She's like, my husband's not going to be happy about this. You need to call him. I said, okay, I'll call him. Send me his number. Call him. And here's what I started adding up. The wife runs the show. I could tell that she calls him, and she's the one that's in charge. And so now he's got to get defensive because he's getting yelled at by his wife. And so I call him and I'm like, hey man, I just got off the phone with your wife, and she said, to go ahead, and we're not going to do the power washing. But we did have this deal on the price for the gutters with this included. And he just starts saying this, yeah, no, I got my 12-year-old kids to do the power washing. And you know what? I could get a Hispanic crew out here to do it for like $100 or something like that. And he's just making excuse after excuse after excuse. Keep in mind, this is a highly affluent neighborhood. This house is at least $1.5 million. And he's worried about saving a few bucks on some gutters and some power washing. I was just like, look, man, that's fine. I'll just go ahead and I'll take the Christmas lights off for you for free. And I'll do your gutters for the price that we agreed on without the power washing. So all in all, it's a lot of work climbing up and down the ladder like I was on a tall 2-story with a 34-foot ladder. If you've never used a 34-foot ladder, go rent one and go and try it. And then you tell me if what I did was worth $200 or more. Should have been worth more. Anyways, so I ended up doing the job. We did a good job. At the end of everything, they were happy with everything. And they ended up, being nice at the end. But it really rubbed me the wrong way, the way that they handled that whole thing. So anyways, rude people and Karens. I can't stand rude people. It's one of my main dislikes when running an exterior cleaning business. The other thing is like stuff breaks, stuff doesn't work, things go out, you got to replace stuff. And that's normal. But what bothers me is like when it breaks or doesn't work when you really need it to work, or like when one of your employees breaks something. And it's just like, no worries, man. No, don't worry. There's an accident. I'll fix it. And I walk over, to get my tools. I'm like, God dang it. Like, how did he break that? It's frustrating. But one of the things that just irks me is when like things don't work when you really need it to work, or when you're trying to pull the ratchet strap out of the back of the truck, and the hooks on every hose and every freaking thing. It's into the back of the truck, and you just want to flip your truck upside down. It's one of the things that just irks me. And then another big thing that just I dislike having, but I have these conversations anyways because they're important conversations to have. And keep in mind, like, there's a lot of tough conversations to have with people. You've got to get comfortable with these uncomfortable conversations, and you have to be comfortable at managing them properly, because uncomfortable conversations brings emotions, and emotions brings conflict. And if you can manage your emotions and manage the conversation, you will be able to avoid conflict. So one of the things is having conversations about money. Obviously I'm the owner, I'm the boss, I'm the one that's dishing out payroll. So, whenever, let's say we have somebody that's having money issues and they need more money, they need to be paid more or whatever it is, guess who they come to? They come to me. So it's something that I've gotten good at managing conversations and avoiding it escalating into conflicts. I'm a pretty level-headed guy. Generally, I mean, I can get worked up and I can get angry, and it's not pretty. But it takes a lot to get me going. But just like broadly speaking, generalizing, I don't like conflict, and I would rather just. And it's not even like try to avoid conflict or like try to avoid that conversation, but it's like I know I have to have these conversations, or I know I have to address certain things. I've just gotten really good at being professional, managing the conversation properly, managing my emotions, and then avoiding conflict. So, you know, you have to have them, but that doesn't mean I like them. Another one of the things I hate doing, cleaning gutters. It's another reason why that just the whole conversation just pissed me off, is because I hate cleaning gutters and I don't know why I agreed to doing them. I agree to do them, and I hate doing them. Yeah, or like getting on roofs. I don't like getting on roofs either. Um, another one of my another one of my dislikes: cheap people. Speaking of which, cheap people. There's people out there that understand the work that you're doing. It requires work and effort and precision and attention to detail. And people will pay you, and they're happy to when you do a good job and you're friendly and you're kind, and they pay you a tip. And I appreciate those people a lot. And then there's people that want you to do astronomical amounts of work for little to nothing. And then they want to compare you to it actually makes me mad, because they, like this guy said, I can just get a Hispanic crew out here. It's like, oh, cool. So you're cool with like slave labor. You like, first of all, you're more open to saving whatever that difference was. I think it was like $100 that he said. You're more open to saving $100, and spending that money on somebody that's not from this country, that is not, well, I guess not necessarily a business owner, but not from this country, not from this neighborhood, doesn't speak your language, instead of a guy from the community that it does houses all over the place here, a young kid that is, I shouldn't call myself a young kid. I mean, I'm a young adult that's going and getting it, started this thing from scratch, is working hard out here, busting his butt. And you're just like, I'll just go get his. It just irks me. And I get if you have money issues, like that's different. Like if you don't have that much money, but this guy lived in like a $1.5 million home. It's like his wife drove like an Escalade or something like that, Mercedes, whatever it was. It's just a scenario that really gets behind me. But cheap people, they want you to work for nothing. It's like, you know what? I don't even want to deal with you. So cheap people. Another one of my dislikes, to be honest with you, if we're being honest right now, I'm probably going to let a lot of people down. I don't like door knocking. I actually just don't like door knocking. And it's not that I just completely dislike it, but it actually, my personality, it takes me a lot to actually just take that first step and actually go just door knock, especially when I lose momentum and I haven't door knocked for a while. Getting back into it is really mentally difficult for me. Especially if I just ran into a Karen a few doors down, the next like 10 doors is just tough for me. That's just my own personality. But I do it anyways. I do it regardless of how I feel, because I know, and this is something that the younger generation, or maybe just everybody in general, needs to understand. You're not going to like everything you do. It's not always going to be fun and sunshine and rainbows especially when you're trying to build something, you're trying to build a business. If you're looking for sunshine and rainbows, if you're looking for just everything to be the way you want it to be, um, I don't really know what to tell you because that's not how it works. It's not how it works in business. There's going to be things that you don't like to do. You have to do them anyways because it's like working out or it's like cold plunge. Especially when you're just starting out. It's like I don't want to go work out. I don't want to go do this. I don't want to go get sore and stuff. You do it anyways because why? You know it's good for you. You know you're building yourself. You're getting yourself better. So I don't necessarily like door knocking, or I don't like the build up to it, I guess. Once I have like a great day, I love having a great day and I love making money and I love talking with people. That's actually one thing I really love. I love talking with people. But I guess I don't like the idea of me being thought of as like a solicitor. Yeah, I don't like that. Or like a or like a what do they call it? Like a sleazy salesman. Is it sleazy? Is that even the right word? Doesn't sleazy mean like slutty? I don't know. I don't like being thought of in that way. And what you have to do is you have to switch your mindset. You just have to switch your mindset. And whenever I switch my mindset, I do great. I'm really good at it. I'm really good at door knocking and I'm really good at sales. And I'm not a sleazy salesman. I'm a very professional salesman. I'm a very honest and hardworking and and trustworthy salesman. So you gotta switch the mindset. I don't like door knocking, but I do it anyways, and I switch my mindset. So anyways, accounting, legal stuff. There's a ton of accounting and legality, legal papers, legal documents, that you have to deal with when you own a business. It's not the most fun. I don't like doing it, but again, I do it anyways. At least in some way. I kind of um, I sub that other stuff out, like accounting and stuff. I got an accountant. Um, Putting up and taking down Christmas lights again goes with the gutters, goes with the roofs. I should just throw that in with that. Slow weeks. I hate slow weeks. Like in the slow season. Granted, in the slow season in December, which is like the slowest month for this industry, in my opinion, it's like you're fighting tooth and nail just to get work on the schedule, just to get jobs and appointments on the schedule. And we did it. I mean, we filled up December. We made it happen. It was hard, it was difficult, but we made it happen. But there are some weeks where it's just like, for example, things get away from me. I'm more focused on like the jobs that we have on the schedule and making sure those go good, that I forget like, hey, we got to fill up the whole week. And so we have like a slow week and then we go out and door knock and we have a bad day after a bad day after a bad day. And it's like, that momentum, that negative momentum kind of takes over. And then you have like a slow week. Those suck. Those aren't fun, but that just happens in this industry sometimes. But for the most part, we do avoid that just because we go get it. And then managing expenses. I dislike managing expenses because, I'm just a guy that likes to spend money. I know it's like not a good trait, but I like to spend money on good things, like on things that matter. But sometimes expenses get away from me. And like for example, in October, we had like our best month yet. We did really good. And then at the end of the month, I went and looked at the expenses, and it was like we basically broke even. It's like, how did that even? I don't even know how that got away from me, but it's because I wasn't managing it. I wasn't looking at it. I wasn't tracking it, and it just got away from me. So those are like some of the dislikes. I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there's more. I just saw that my AirPods just connected to my computer. I hope it didn't switch the speaker. So if you can still hear me, that's good. I'll check it later. So that's the dislikes. But there's a lot of things to like about this industry, and there's a lot of things to like about running an exterior cleaning business. And when I say exterior cleaning, just so you know, it's what we do is we do exterior window cleaning, pressure washing, gutters. Oh, I'm going to take that off, but we do it. We clean gutters. And then one of the other things that we actually started adding in is basically a clear coat on driveways. We basically seal driveways with something called silane siloxane. And that's one of the new services that we're rolling out in 2026. It's actually a pretty cool product. I'm going to get into that later though. But that's kind of what a exterior cleaning business, at least that's what my exterior cleaning business does. And some of the things I like about it, being my own boss. I make my own schedule. I'm on my own time. I make I build the culture. I don't want to say I make the rules. I do essentially, but it's a team effort. It is a joint effort. But I like being my own boss because I like that I get to make my own money. I get to go get my paycheck. I get to go, I guess you won't call it a paycheck. I get to go and be in charge of my own destiny. I don't have to rely on a boss, and I don't have to be the guy that go, I'm not making enough money. I just go make enough money. I set my own schedule. When I want to take my vacation days, I take my vacation days. I don't have to go ask my boss to put in vacation, time off. I take as much time as I want off. Luckily for me, I like to work too. So that's actually one of the things I put down here is I like working. I like working outside. I like working in the sun. I like working sometimes in nature. Usually it's residential, but sometimes you get a chance to actually work in nature. Like the other day we had this house that the backyard was just like this. It just dropped down into this like creek, and there was trees that kind of came up, and it was all leaves and stuff in the backyard, and it was awesome. It was beautiful. I love working outside, and I just love working. I like working with my hands. So those are a few things that I just really first and foremost love about owning an exterior cleaning business. Getting work outside, yeah, that's what I said. Not being stuck in the same setting. We're in a different setting every single day. Multiple times a day, we're in a new setting. I can't stand just sitting. When I was in my sales job before I started this company, I was in my room, I was behind my desk in the same setting every single day. And I was working like 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day at the time. And yeah, nah, not for me. I love being able to be in a new setting, driving around the city, going and seeing new neighborhoods, new houses, seeing all kinds of different houses that are out there. It's just crazy to see the different styles that people have. So I like that. That's a huge plus for me. The satisfaction of cleaning windows and driveways. You ever seen those like Instagram videos where it's like a time lapse of this guy pressure washing a driveway, or like pressure washing like the green muck off of like a wall or something? Yeah, I get to do that every single day. It's incredible. It's like so cool to see when you got this like black driveway. You throw the soap down, you pressure wash it, you pressure, and then you rinse all of it off down into the gutter, and you got this like brand new looking driveway that you just did. It's really cool to see. Really satisfying for me, anyways. So I like that. Being able to manage a team. Ooh, this is a big one for me. I like being in charge for this reason, because I like mentoring. I like managing. Like I said earlier, when people come to me with tough conversations, I've gotten really good at just managing people and making sure that they are happy and making sure that they're in a good environment, making sure that they see the future ahead, not just like it's like foggy and they don't really know where they're headed. Like I like to make, what's the right word? I like to give people a vision, right? Um, I like to help people see what's ahead instead of like, because I know like a lot of people, they just like work day to day and they're just like, it's like one day after another, it's the same thing every single day. And they don't really see like, well, where are you like really going with this? I like to give people a track or like something to shoot for, goals ahead of them. And I like managing like jobs. I like coming in and I got somebody on the job. I come in, I do a quality check. I make sure that everything is done right and properly. I'm not like a micromanager. At least I don't think. I don't know. Ask one of my employees. We'll see. Um, Managing the schedule, making sure like, hey, we need to switch this or we need to fit this in here so that we can do this, and this job's over here, so we need to. I like managing things. It's really it's something I always thought I was going to be really good at, and I always wanted to get into. And now that I'm into that role, I am good at it. At least I think, and I really like it. I like doing that. I like managing a team and growing a team. Getting to meet people in the community. Oof, this is a big one for me because I love people actually. I love meeting people. I love having conversations with people. I get to meet a lot of interesting people. And I love having good conversations and just connecting and like asking questions about where people are from or what they're kind of like into and just getting to relate to people. It's one thing I really appreciate is just camaraderie and just figuring out or I guess getting to know people on a little bit of a deeper level than what you normally would. That's really cool for me. Building community. I highly value a strong community. It's a super important thing for me. It's always at the top of mind whenever I'm out and about in the community. Um, I just think that a strong, cohesive community is super important. So there's that. Making my own money. I already talked about that. Making my own money. Building something from scratch or just like building something in general. Like I'm building this company. I started this company with no money, with a squeegee and with a brush. I have now thousands of dollars worth of equipment, things that I never thought I was going to be able to have or afford before. Um, I've got employees now. I've got a logo, a brand. I get to build. I get to build my pamphlets, my brochures, my door hangers. I get to, we're going to get apparel soon. It's like you're building something, and it's just really for me, for as a man, as a guy, whether it's building a birdhouse or a log cabin or whether you're doing maintenance on the car or whether you're building a business or whether you're building a website or something. It's just the idea and the process of building something is so satisfying, so fun, so cool. I just love that. I think a lot of you can relate to that, especially if you're a man. I think that's just ingrained inside of us is that desire to build. So that is what I really, really like about not just owning an exterior cleaning company, but being an entrepreneur is you get the ability to build. And that's cool. And there's endless potential and where you can take this and where you can go with this. And I just see a bunch of things ahead of me, and I'm trying to like navigate and making sure that I'm not getting ahead of myself. Um, but like there's just endless potential, and it's like every time we turn a corner, we find a new neighborhood. It's like I didn't even know this neighborhood existed. Let's look this neighborhood up. We look it up and there's like 600 homes in there. It's like there's endless houses. There's endless people that need our services. There's just endless opportunity out there. And my business mentor, my business coach, he always says it is everybody's God-given right to insert word, insert sentence. It's everyone's God-given right to have the cleanest windows on the block, to have the cleanest driveway on the block, to have the most shining house in the neighborhood. It's everyone's God-given right, God-given right. And there's just endless people out there to do that for. And I luckily, fortunately for me, I live in a very good area, I live in an affluent, or I guess I live right outside of it, but I live in the Memorial area. It's a very affluent area, and I get the opportunity to wake up every day and just get in my truck and not have to drive that far at all. Sometimes I drive like 2 minutes up the road, 30 seconds up the road to my jobs. And this area is huge too. So there's just endless opportunity. Unfortunately, about 50% of this area I actually can't knock because it's the village, the city of like Bunker Hill Village or Hunters Creek or Piney Point. You can't door knock in there without like a permit. And then when you get a permit, like 95% of the residents are on the no soliciting. So it's a tough one. Their police response time is like 3 minutes minimum. No, 3 minutes uh, maximum, I guess. Well, average response time. Anyways, the police are quick there. It's just one of those areas that's like really locked down. I don't want to get fined, and then I don't want to I don't want to go get that permit and then like 95% of the people, and that's a limited mindset. I shouldn't even think like that. Excuse me. Because 5% that I can go solicit, I really should just go do this. But I have enough work right now to where I don't need to, but I'm trying to get as many referrals out of the villages as possible or just organically. Um, but that 5%, I mean, there's like, geez, what is the population of the villages? It's got to be like 100,000, somewhere in there, maybe like, yeah, that might be too many. Maybe like 30,000. But like 5% of that's a lot of people to go knock. And then, out of those people, I should get, about 5% of them. So do the math on that. I can't do that in my head right now. I'll do it later. I should go do it because then those names lead to referrals. But anyways, I've got enough on my plate right now, and it is a lot. Sometimes, it's owning an exterior cleaning business is it's a lot. Luckily, I'm one of those guys that will work from sun up to sundown and not think twice about it. In fact, when the first time I hired employees on was in the summer, it was those college kids. And, I just didn't think about like I'm there working alongside them. And, I didn't think about like, oh, these kids, they need a break or they don't want to work all day. And I'm like, we're going from like 8 a.m. to like sundown at 7:30, or it was like sundown at 8 o'clock. And these kids are like, eventually they were like, dude, like, when are we going to, I don't want to work till this late. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot you're not the owner and you're an employee and I'm not legally allowed to make you work that late. So yeah, makes sense. But once I'm working, I just work sun up, sundown, 6 days, sometimes 7 days a week. And, sometimes I don't even take lunch. I just work through lunch. It's just because that's how I do it. So I gotta be more considerate of others. They're not the same as me. They're not built like me. They're not they're not workaholics. I don't think I'm a workaholic. I I can definitely I can definitely take time off, and it doesn't bother me. But once I get going, I just go and I work my butt off. And yeah, most people aren't built like me. So yeah, I mean, it's hard work, guys. It's hard work owning a an exterior cleaning business. It's not easy. It's not necessarily complicated. It's actually very simple. It's just really hard work. And you can make it as complicated as you want. That's not a good thing, I don't think. I think simplicity is really important. But it's very rewarding in some ways. And what I will say is, I started this business because I just needed to make money, and I was a bit desperate at the time. And you know, when I started it, I just knew that I had to focus on it to make it successful, and I've done that. And I guess, in the process of making it successful, or we have in some way, we have some way found early success. But it's, if I could change, if I could switch gears and pivot into another industry the same way that I pivoted into this one, I would have gone. I guess what I'm saying is, if I could go back, I would have gone with something that's a little bit more high ticket. Um, you know, if I would have known and really stayed more into the roofing industry and got to know that industry a little bit better. I mean, I was on the marketing side of things. Like, I was working for a lead generation company, which it wasn't fun. If I was like actually in the roofing industry, like working for a roofer, like I did for my friend up in the DFW area, that probably would have been a better go to, because it's much more high ticket, and you make a lot more. Because the biggest thing is, you only have so much time. Everyone has the same amount of time, right? So if you go make $2,000 a day in 10 hours, there's somebody else that is making $20,000 a day in those 10 hours. And so it's like, okay, well, I would kind of like rather make $20,000 a day than make $2,000 a day, right? And I'm not saying, I'm just using example numbers, but it's like, you need to make sure that you're not going out and if you're trading your time for money, make sure that that money is high ticket and it's worth it. And the exterior cleaning business can be. You just have to be careful where, make sure you're in the right neighborhoods, make sure you're in the right areas, make sure you're not just doing, $100 job over and over and over that takes you 2 or 3 hours to do, because that's just not worth it. It's not worth it in the long run. You're not going to build a business out of doing that. You need to make sure you're getting your 400, 500, 600, $800 homes. That's much more well worth it. Sometimes you get jobs that are $2,000, and that is a $2,000 a day. Then we've had those, and that's way more worth it. But in the end, I wouldn't call that high ticket. And so if I could like go back and pivot, I think I would have done something that was more high ticket. But you live and you learn, and I've learned so much since I've started, and I that doesn't mean I can't add more high ticket stuff, right? And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing with the driveway sealing, is we're adding a high ticket service. So I don't know. I like it. I really do. Overall, I'm really happy and very thankful and very, very grateful with what I've done and with the opportunities that I've been given. Um, and I think a lot of you should try it too. I think there's a lot of you out there that need to do it, that need to go for it because it's worth it. The money's worth it. Um, you learn a lot. You learn a lot of very valuable skills. You get to work for yourself, right? So um, go do it. Like just go and start an exterior cleaning business or something of that nature. It's getting really popular now because of Instagram. I mean, that's essentially why I started. I saw guys on Instagram doing it. So, you know, if you're not sure, if you're in the Houston area, if you're in the Memorial area and you want a job and you want to partner up with someone that's like-minded, you want to work for someone that's like-minded and learn from him, which is me, talking about me. You want to learn from me. We are hiring. We're hiring sales guys, and then we're going to hire more labor guys. But if you want to grow skills, you want to join a team that's really growth minded, that wants to grow, that wants to get out there in the community, and I mean, really just take over. Like I want to get in here to take over. I don't want to be in here just to play around. I want the shine like a diamond exteriors name to be everywhere. So if you want to be a part of that, you can DM me. You can reach me however in whatever way, email, reach out, and I would love to just connect with you and see if you're going to be a fit, see if this can be a fit for you, because we want to build, we want to grow, we want to grow this, we want to keep going. So, anyways, that's my likes and dislikes of owning an exterior cleaning business. I'm sure I missed some important things, but that's just kind of what came to mind right now. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I appreciate you watching and I appreciate you following. And I hope that I hope I'm able to bring some value to your life. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys.